Alright, today on The Ropes, I'm up here at Harvey University bookstore where RuQuan Brown currently accepted the offer to Harvey University. He currently attends the #1 public school in the District of Columbia, Benjamin Banneker. Also an entrepreneur, has his own business, Love One. What's good, man?
Nothing much, man. Just blessed, excited to be here.
Talk about the excitement, man, of signing with Harvey University a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a big blessing, and I tell people a story where I was 7 years old, and I told my mom and stepdad in the living room. I told my parents in the living room that I'd go to college for free, be the best college football player in the nation, and not have to depend on football to go to school for free. So to have accepted an offer to a school that doesn't offer any athletic scholarships, it's a blessing. So I've been able to hold my weight academically, 1320 SAT, 3.9 GPA, in order to earn admission into institutions like this. So it's a blessing.
I want to take it back, man. You're originally from Seattle, Washington.
That's right.
How did you make your way to D.C.?
So I was born in Seattle. That's where my mom and dad met. And I lived there for probably 3 or 4 years. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas, actually. And I lived there until I was about 10. Fell in love with the game of football. And then finally, I moved to D.C. and I've been here since. So my dad moved to D.C. without me. And it was a period of my life where I needed my dad. So I ended up moving out here to be with him.
You know, I want to actually go back to the Texas years. You were actually a part of Deion Sanders' program, the Truth program. Talk about that.
Man, it's crazy. It's had probably the biggest impact on me and just the way I think, right? Like, my name now is Real the Truth. But I learned 5 very important things, and it's called the Truth Creed. And it goes T, trust in God. R, respect myself and others. U, understand that I have unlimited possibilities. T, try my best and never give up. H, honor myself in the Truth Creed at all times. So I would recite that from probably the age of 6 on every single day, whether that was in summer camp, before practice, after practice, every day. And it sticks with you. And so even though when I'm 18 years old, I'm not reciting it, those are the same things that I'm living by. So Coach Prime is one of the greatest athletes of all time, having played baseball and excelling in baseball and in football, playing in the Super Bowl and the World Series and things like that. He's the truth. But to see him give back so much, to be in the community and touching people's lives like that is the reason why I started my business, because I've seen the example already. It doesn't matter how great you are in one aspect, you can use that to bless somebody else. So.
Now, let's talk about your company, Love One. How did that all get started?
Well, I had a teammate over at Roosevelt named Robert Lee Arthur Jr., who won #1. He was murdered in 2017, and my stepdad then was murdered in 2018, a year later. And I wanted to do something just to be proactive about gun violence and ending gun violence. So I started my clothing line, Love One, where I can take 20% of proceeds and donate it to an organization that buys guns off the streets and turns them into art. So for me, it's simple, man. It's just about beating gun violence with a punch, right? So gun violence is very active, it's very real. I had to find a way to make sure that it didn't continue to just happen to me, but that we could beat gun violence.
You know, speaking on that, with the gun violence that you've seen in the city, how did that impact the team during that time, when that happened to your teammate?
It was tough. We ended up winning the championship, our 2nd championship in a row. So I think even though we didn't say it out loud too often, it was a motivator for us. We knew we won the Gravy Bowl on the last second of the game. We knew we had to make it happen one way or another. But I will say too, just so many DC youth are desensitized to gun violence because we lose our dads, and we lose our uncles, and we lose our brothers, and we lose our cousins. We learn to build a wall, an emotional wall where death doesn't affect us. Or we don't allow it to affect us outwardly. And when you have so many deaths that you experience, it's hard to cry. It's hard to talk about how it feels. So we didn't have that much conversation about it. We experience it all the time. It's a regular thing in our community. But for me, I grew up a little more sheltered, just a little bit different. My parents are from the streets. I didn't necessarily have to experience the streets. So it wasn't such a common thing for me as much as it is for some of my teammates. And that's why I was super active about starting my brand.
You know, with that being said, there's an organization who you partner with up in, I believe, New Jersey, which takes the guns and make them into, I guess, different art. Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them? How did that all come about?
Yeah, so they're in Rhode Island. They're called One Gun Gone, and I reached out to them because I knew I had to not only start something for my brother, but start something for other people's brothers and sisters too. And that's where I donate my 20%. So I reached out to them. I gave them a call. I ended up learning about them at a conference here at Howard. And I gave them a call and let them know, hey man, I'm super passionate about ending gun violence, just like you guys are. And I want to give you guys some of the money that we make so that your mission can continue to excel.
Now, who helped you start your company? Because I know it had to be, you know, a little bit of a process, you know, to get organized in order to start Love One. Who helped you and mentored you in that process to start your own business?
Well, I have several mentors. One of my mentors, Dr. Miranda Ward, she did an awesome job at just kind of being there for me if I needed anything, had any questions. She did a good job of holding me accountable to the paperwork side of things, the things that you don't usually want to do. But my mom's a hustler, my dad's a hustler, so whenever I need advice, business advice on how to sell or things like that, they were there for me. My mom helped me kind of sell. I think I ordered like 50 stickers in the beginning, paid $50 for them. I think I sold them at $2 or $3 a piece, made $150, flipped that to buy t-shirts, pre-ordered, put the t-shirts online on the website so you could pre-order them, save the money for that to put out some t-shirts, and then kind of just kept going like that. But my family does an awesome job at being there for me.
How has the response been from the public about your brand?
It's been crazy. It's been amazing. Like being able to talk to so many people, read so many people, write so many note cards to people in their packages about, you know, thanking them for their support in my ending gun violence. It's been dope. People are in love with the message, and really people want to end gun violence, so they go hand in hand.
Who were you surprised to hear from?
There are some people that I'm talking to and hearing from right now that I can't share at this moment. But I think one of the bigger surprises for me was ABC came to my school and did a story on me, and they put it all over the country. So it's one thing to be on the news right here in DC, but when I was getting emails, calls, texts, messages, orders from people in North Carolina, Seattle, Washington, California, Texas, all over the country, that was a different feeling.
Do you see that being something that's spread out throughout the whole country, the Love One movement?
Absolutely. 100%. The Love One movement is big. I tell people all the time it's going to be a worldwide and household name. It's going to be something that everybody knows. And if you don't know what your mom or your dad does or your brother or your sister does, because that's where we're going, it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. But also the Victory Village, and that's my team. That's anybody who has helped me, contributed to me winning, contributed to my community being greater. Call that the Victory Village. So not only Love One, but also the Victory Village.
How important is it, man, to show other men of color, black men, that it's important to have entrepreneurship, to have your own, instead of working for somebody else? That it's good to have something that you can call your own, and let the younger generation know that there's other things you can look up to besides sports, that you also can be a business owner also as well.
100%. That's dope because my dad didn't play sports, and my dad runs his own business. I've been able to kind of help my dad in business too, just even sometimes encouraging him to start businesses back up. He has a junk removal company where he actually donates unwanted items. You call him, pay him to pick up some of your unwanted items, and then ones that Goodwill or any of those places will take, he'll donate them to them. So I kind of learned that from my dad as well, not only Coach Prime. But it's awesome, man. I had a great example of my dad doing that, but I also looked at Nipsey Hussle even before he passed. He preaches all money in, right? Keeping the money in the community. Him going back to his hood and buying the block that he committed crimes on and was arrested on and things like that to kind of make up for and just do good in his community. That's a blessing. That's the example, right? I'm not the first to do it. I'm not going to be the last to do it, but those are the types of people, my dad, Nipsey Hussle, Meek Mill, Jay-Z in some circumstances, and people even on smaller scales like that don't get as much public attention. One of my mentors, Unique Jones, has a space in the DMV where she brings a bunch of black creatives, entrepreneurs, business people, artists together to her dream village, and they work on things together. Anything from they just created a new board game to her brand Because of Them We Can, but they work together and they help each other climb while they're blessing the community. So I have all these examples to choose from. I mean, really, we have all these examples to choose from. So it was never really an option for me to just be a ball player.
With that being said, what is your plans as far as majoring once you get to Harvard?
Right now, I have no idea. I'm just excited to get to school, man. I'm excited to finish high school, really taking it day by day, laughing with my brothers, having fun, being 18, trying to remain and stay and being a young man, because I know it changes very quickly. So I don't know what I want to major in yet, but I'm going to be open to it. They have something called Shopping Week there in Harvard where you can run around and take a bunch of different classes for a week, and I'll kind of get a feel for some different things.
On that road and the whole process to getting to the point where we are now, we accepted to go to Harvey University. Talk about that journey where you had like 25 different universities offering you full rides. What was the deciding factor in picking Harvard University?
For me, it was this. You don't know, and I don't know that many black boys and girls. I want to change that. I want it not to be weird or crazy that a young man from the hood can go to Harvard, or a young man from DC public schools went to Harvard. I want it to be a normal thing. I want there to be already a built community of DC and people out the hood that go to schools like that. And it has happened, don't get me wrong, but we don't know that many people that have done it. I know young people are watching me, and I want them to know, like, I know I'm the best football player on the field when I touch the field, even if I don't have the best game, and so do the people watching that. But I want them to look at me and say, wow, instead of going to UMass or Temple, more of a football school, this young man chose to go and pursue education. That's the example. That's what my parents taught me. That's what's most important. I'm going to the league because they're watching. They're going to find me. But what's most important is taking care of my brain, my mind, my spirit, so that when I'm done with the NFL, and even while I'm in the NFL, I can make the right decisions outside of it.
I heard in an interview one time you talked about being homeless at one point. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. So we look at the definition of homeless. It don't always mean you live outside of the street.
Correct.
It's sometimes just living house to house, or some people have to sleep in their car. Some people live with their aunt but don't have their own home with their own key and their own bathroom and things like that. So there have been more than one occasion where we've had to bounce from house to house. And it's not the best thing in the world. It's humbling, and it teaches me to appreciate the spaces that I have at this point, but it's real.
With that being said, one of the things, my signature question that I ask is talking about life struggles and how do you overcome. So with that being said, what's the toughest thing that you've been through in your life, and how did you overcome it to help someone who might be going through life struggles during this time in their life?
Toughest thing that I've been through, that's a good one. I can count. I think it's probably going to be some of those times where we don't know where to look for food, or I got to watch my younger sister while my mom's at work, and then she comes back home for a quick second and got to go right back to work. And I'm 12 or 13, but I'm cooking dinner for my baby sister and things like that. Those are probably some of the hardest times of my life that I can think of right this moment. Other than losing my stepdad to gun violence. But it's always good to have family to lean on. And that's my victory village. And they're not always blood family. Sometimes it's your homeboy, sometimes it's your homegirl. But having somebody that can hold you accountable, somebody that can support you in your rough times. But I will also say Jesus has always been a part of the equation when we've needed help. Homeless or hurt because we lost our family members, we're praying. We're reading the Word of God. We're declaring the Word of God to be true in our lives, and it always prevails.
I heard you talk about that in interviews, the importance of Jesus in your life and how he's made a difference in the things that you do and the steps that you make. Talk about that road to when you decided to do that.
Yeah, I was 13, I think, 12 or 13, and this was one of the best times of my life. To switch from some of the worst times of my life to the best times. This was one of the best times when I was being a follower when I first got here, trying to find myself, and I was kind of attaching to different guys that I didn't know for sure what I wanted to be, so I'm trying to figure it out. And I had an opportunity to think about realize this is not what I want to do. I want to get good grades. I want to be great. I want to be respectful to myself, to women, to people around me. I don't want to be a follower. I want to be a leader, and that's what I am. And I spend a lot of time with myself. And I would walk. I was in trouble on punishment for a while. I think probably most of my 8th grade year, and I would walk every Wednesday to church from my house, and I would just spend time with just. We had worship music, and there were probably 5 or 6 other teenagers, and we're just spending time in worship. And it was amazing, man. Like, just that the divinity, it's real, you can feel it. Just like you with your girlfriend and you feel the connection. I feel a great connection to the Father. And that's when I realized that for me, God is real. So then that summer, I traveled back home to Seattle, and I went to a camp with probably 200 or 300 teenagers that had already given their lives to Christ or were thinking about giving their lives to Christ. We had fun, man. We did paintball and we did dirt bike. We listened to some sermons every other night or something like that. We had like a ball or something like that. We played games and we just had a good time. And it wasn't about sex. It wasn't about drugs. It wasn't about doing the wrong thing or things that are going to harm us. This was an opportunity, the first time I had ever seen this many kids come together and do all the right things and have so much fun doing it. I never thought like, oh, let me go do this or let me go do that. It was focused on the right things and still felt good. And that's when I knew I wanted to give my life to Christ. So a week later, I went to church. I was still in Seattle where I was born. So it's awesome to be not only born in Seattle, but reborn in Seattle. And I gave my life to Christ there and was baptized.
You know, with that being said, once something like that happens, they think the road is smooth and easy. Would you say the road has been harder for you since that happened?
Oh, yeah. No, it ain't easy, man. I think it is harder because now you hold yourself to a different standard. Before, you're comfortable in the things that you're doing wrong, so it's not really that hard. You have life's challenges where you still got to pick up your backpack, put it on, and it's hard to carry. But now you have to think about how you're carrying your backpack. You still got to pick that backpack up, but now it's important on how you're carrying it because people are watching. And I want to always be an example for my father, for my family, and my heavenly family as well. So it's hard, man. It's not easy. I'm not perfect. I'm human. And I'm still learning who Jesus is on a day-to-day basis, and I'm still learning how to tap in all the way and receive grace, mercy, love, accountability, discipline from the Father. But no, it ain't been easy.
As a young black male, man, what would you say is one of the hardest things that you find that people wouldn't know that young black males are going through today?
I think that one of the hardest things is being a black man, and really being a man, period, but we'll focus on black men in this conversation, that we're not allowed to express how we feel. Society tells you at 2 years old, stop crying, be a man. Your mom tells you at 2 years old, stop crying, be a man. And so then we associate sharing emotion as a weakness, and we divide emotion that's for women, and I'm here to just be solid, just work and make sure my family's straight. So I turned into this angry like ball of fire. When in reality, what just happened to me, what somebody did to me, really hurt my feelings. But I'm gay if I say it hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gay if I'm crying because of these reasons. So I want to encourage young men. I cry all the time. People look at me and I'm great and I've experienced great, but I cry. I'm not afraid to say, bro, that hurt my feelings. I tell my brother sometimes, like, bro, like, let's not do that because that hurts my feelings. Sometimes I still gotta look myself in the mirror and understand that everybody doesn't understand that it's okay to be emotional, right? But black men, we're targets, man. We are endangered. We have to think about our lives every day. We have to think about the people around us because we're also leaders. So we have a lot of responsibility. It's okay to cry because sometimes crying, having conversation about your feelings will make you not go smoke weed or smoke crack or drink or hurt somebody else, and that be your way of getting your emotions out. Just have a conversation with somebody and be honest about how you feel.
As someone in your position, are you able to mentor younger people to talk about the things that you've been through and to let them know about your experiences and the things that you've been through?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's awesome all the time. I was just at church the other day, and one of the leaders at church brought his son over to me and, shared with me that they've been watching my story and kind of watching me grow. And it's inspiring because there's a guy who's on his way to the league right now. His name is James Prochet, and he played with Truth. A couple years older than me. He just graduated from SMU this year, one of the best receivers in college football. Another guy, one of the best receivers in college football, LaVisca Chenault from Colorado. These are two guys from my city in Texas, from DeSoto, who I looked up to when I was a kid. And I watched those guys all the time, and they didn't necessarily know it, but I was doing everything they was doing. I was saying everything that they were saying. And so it's such a blessing to see now that I'm almost literally following in their footsteps with my own uniqueness, and I'm gonna remain me. But watching them and seeing where they are just reminds me that young people are watching me. So I take my job being a role model for the young guys and girls very seriously, because who did it for me, they took their job seriously.
You know, did any of the people that was part of the Truth program, did they ever reach out to you when they found out about the things that you're doing here in the district right now?
Yeah, definitely.
What was that like?
I mean, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. I would say, man, we're all great in some way, and even guys that have stopped playing football. One guy's name is Chef Hoppy. He just posted on Twitter that he's like starting a restaurant with a couple other local chefs or something like that. So he's also a personal chef for like Ezekiel Elliott, Coach Prime, a couple other guys for the Cowboys. Prochet, he started his own brand called Channel 3 for him and his 3 brothers. So we're great, you know what I mean? And guys are already doing amazing things, so it's expected. You know what I'm saying? That's what I didn't understand when I was a kid, that what I'm doing is the expectation for that family. It's not an anomaly for us to do things like this. Coach Prime reaching out, and I think he retweeted something, the CNN article a couple months ago. It's a blessing, man, to be able to call or text Coach Prime and ask for help. He was in my commitment video. To be able to ask him to do stuff like that. It's a family, it's real. It wasn't just for the news, you know what I mean? It wasn't just so people could say Deion Sanders is great. Coach Prime cares about us, he loves us, but he shows us the way, man. And it's real because we're going and we're doing the same work.
You know, I got to ask, because yesterday I had an interview with a fellow, Dunbar, RuQuan, Harvey, and, we were talking. And in my opinion, man, we don't really see enough stories where young black males are shown in a positive light. How can we change that perception out there from what you see on the news most of the time? Either we getting locked up or getting shot or killed or doing negative things, where we have way more positive stories out there that aren't being told, such as yours, such as a DeQuan Harvey. How can someone like me get more stories like this out there?
I mean, continue to do what you're doing, man. You're finding guys that are doing the right thing, guys that are powerful and that are impactful, and you're sharing their story. That's a start, and that's the right start. You're not CNN yet, you know what I mean? But you're still starting where you are and reaching the people you can reach. Continue to do that. That's the right thing to do. Don't stop, you know what I'm saying? Don't change and focus on something else. You know that's important. Focus 100% on that. And then the same thing with my guys. Like I always tell people, I just shared with my school a couple of days ago, if you have something that is powerful, that's amazing, share it with people that you want to know. We will share it on our platforms, because you never know who's watching, and there are people that want to celebrate us. I think also we just talked about all money in. We got to start owning some more things. Let's take advantage of some of these bigger platforms. Let's own some TV channels. That way we can put out the stories and the messages. Let's create more movies that are going to be mainstream, that show stories like mine, show stories of positive black people, right? We're not picking up books and reading them, unfortunately. So let's take advantage of what we are doing and show it in that. And we're watching YouTube. We're on Instagram. So you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I have younger daughters, and they don't even watch regular TV. It seems like everything is run through the YouTube, like you said. So, hopefully the messages will get out there more, because that's one of my motivations right now. Because I started out, covering the amateur boxing and the professional boxing, but then I just had this niche idea of doing more of positive stories in other sports and positive things that are done in the community for young black males, to show them in a different light than what you normally would see. So I really appreciate your time, really today, to really get out your story, to talk about your company, RuQuan, and also doing great things and moving on to Harvey University.
Absolutely, no, for sure. And I got 2 things for you. I know a couple guys, right? I got a brother named Jotan Baggett who's doing awesome things in his community. He started a clothing line called Let's Make Sense, where it encourages the black community to use their money wisely. Right? We spend our money on J's, we spend our money on a new chain, we spend our money on the wrong things, but when it comes to having food to eat or having SAT prep or something to help us take us to the next level, we don't have that. So he's here to teach us how to do that. He's also going to Lincoln for free to play ball. So that's one brother. I also got another brother named Marcel Gabriel from Roosevelt, who's on his way to win the championship tomorrow. With Roosevelt, I think they went like 26-1 or something like that. He's on his way to Bowie State for free. So these are guys that I've been with since I've been in DC that have kind of changed the direction they were going, and they're doing positive stuff. Second thing is, this video might get 10 views, this video might get 10 million views. We really never know, right? But Tupac said something very interesting, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you played it in this video. He said something like, something very similar to, I don't have to be the change in the world, but whatever I'm saying, I would like for it to impact one person that will be the greatest person to walk the face of the earth. Same thing for me. I'm already great. I don't know if I'm gonna grow greater or what. God might keep me where I am or elevate me. That's okay. As long as whoever is gonna be the greatest, I'm able to speak to and through them.
Hey man, I really appreciate your time today on Knowing the Ropes, man, giving your perspective on life, your company RuQuan, positive things you're doing, helping the youth also as well, and also pointing me in the right direction to also tell other stories, because I do plan on doing that.
100%.
And man, let everybody know where they can find the merchandise, man.
Yeah, man, let me pull out a business card. We got Love One all over everywhere, man. We got Love One on Instagram. We got Love One on my website, loveonecompany.com. We got a bunch of new stuff coming. We're dropping a kids line at the end of the month. So we'll have a bunch of kids stuff, and you can follow us on Instagram, and you can find out more information. We're doing dope stuff, man. We're trying to impact.
Can't hardly see it, but I'll put it on the video. Can I get that?
Yeah,
and I hold on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me give you a couple more. We got new stuff coming, man. We're gonna impact the community directly. I'm working with a couple organizations that are gonna. We're gonna go into the communities, into our communities, man, and be hands-on and have conversations. Touch people's lives, touch people's souls, man. That's what the example that was set for me was. Don't be afraid of your own people. Go into your communities and bless people. We all the same, man. Just some of us have accomplished more or less.
You know, before we wrap it up, man, I gotta get your thoughts on what you see with DC right now with the whole gentrification. What is your thought process on that?
I mean, my thoughts run rampant when it relates to that. But I will say, man, I often try to think less about. As I realize how I'm negatively impacted by gentrification, and so are we. I think about, okay, how can I bless somebody, or how can I kind of fix it in some fashion, right? So when I started this business, it wasn't just to end gun violence. This business is also build wealth, and when I build wealth, I can buy land. And one way to be an anti-gentrifier of sorts is to buy land, buy space, buy a home in the hood where they're trying to take over, and kind of keep it black. And eventually, it won't happen tomorrow, but eventually have spaces where we can keep black families in DC is going to be a blessing. Gentrification sucks, man, and they don't realize, just like with most things that are wrong, we don't realize the bigger picture impact, but we're really destroying culture, destroying lives, destroying souls, hearts, minds. These are people's homes, man, and we're not, but they are literally uprooting them and getting them out of here. So we're going to use our resources to keep homes here, and really any of the black cities that we're from. We're from Seattle, it's also being gentrified. You know what I mean? And we want to just go back and start businesses there and keep homes there, and we're gonna be good that way.
Hey man, I appreciate your time today, man.
For sure, man.
Quan, thank you, man. I appreciate it,
For sure,
man.
Thank you, for sure.
All right,
Yes, sir.
On the Ropes, we out.